And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go visit our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue inside the Dora District. So you can go from bar to bar with your drinks, or you can just hang out at Hail Mary's. They'll get you taken care of. They have 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall. They have the DirecTV sports package, so they have all the games. And, of course, Cincinnati Sports will always be on the 9-screen video wall. They have food trucks on the weekends and sporadically throughout the week. Brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines, and, of course, ice-cold Cincy Light in 32.8-degree frosted glasses. All right, Aaron, let's get to it. I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about tonight.
I miss when those frosted glasses were beer frosted. I feel like they tasted better.
I mean, yeah, if you frosted them in beer, I think they would taste better, but I don't know if they do that. So I didn't want people to go in expecting a glass frosted in beer when it was just frosted regularly. I didn't want to get us for false advertisement. That's and Deloitte might come after us. The new NIL arm,
my goodness,
might come after Bearcat Journal for false pretenses on selling our name, image, and likeness.
When we were looking for things to talk about tonight, I didn't expect if we were going to talk about the bill that we're going to talk about. Didn't expect it to not be the Ohio State bill with no more noon games. What a crock!
Give me a break. You're not that important. You're really not that important.
As if the planting the flag bill wasn't enough. We're also not going to. We're going to make laws where you cannot plant a flag on our turf field. It's not even grass. And also, so you can't actually plant it unless you're Superman. And now we're also not playing at noon.
So ridiculous. Look, guess what? The TV companies that pay you all the money, they say you play at noon. So you play at noon, shut up and like it, or don't take their money.
So soft.
Pretty easy, right? Shut up and like it or don't take their money. You have two options. They're giving you $50, $60 million a year. Do you want that money or not? If you don't, cool. Don't play at noon. If you do want that money, shut the hell up and do what they tell you to do, because you have sold your soul to the TV networks. You honor that selling of your soul, sir.
It's also probably safer for the entire community if you play at noon at Ohio State. For all the reasons.
Instead, while we were recording the BBP, Ross Dellinger kind of drops a bombshell on us. His tweet starts, in a stunning move, the power conferences have drafted a contract that would bind schools to new enforcement rules and require them to waive the right to sue over decisions. Sources tell Yahoo Sports. Schools not signing may risk conference eviction. He continues, the document described as an affiliation or membership agreement is not finalized, but a draft of the contract has been distributed to dozens of school presidents, general counsel, and ADs, some of whom push back against some of the concepts which are now being refined. The document is meant to be signed by all 70-plus power conference schools, as well as others opting into the settlement, as a way of binding the group and providing stability around enforcement rules, including the NIL Go clearinghouse and LBI cap management system. There's a new state law in Tennessee that came out last week that basically says our schools don't have to abide by that because we have made laws in our state legislature that say that they can do whatever they want and don't have to abide by your silly NCAA rules. This is all going to be a mess. Like, I know there has been a lot of belief that, like, okay, the House settlement is coming and things are going to stabilize. It might make everything worse the closer and closer we get to this thing being reality, Aaron.
My favorite quote in this entire article actually comes from Baylor's AD, Mac Rhodes, who says, if we go back to external NIL that is separate from the house pool revenue share and back to a pay-for-play model, then why did we settle? We are going to spend $20.5 million, the per school cap in year one, and then on top of it, go to pay-for-play with collectives? I mean, and then Colorado's athletic director, Rick George, goes on to say, in this new era, we are already trying to circumvent the rules that aren't even in place yet, by the way.
Yeah.
July 1, we're not even there yet.
The thing's not, there's not even a house settlement yet, Aaron. The judge
Rick
has not put the settlement in place.
Rick George finishes with, we've got to stop trying to circumvent the rules. Yeah, you're you're trying to get around the rules already that aren't in place. Which, what are we doing here? What are we doing? So now you've sent out a memo for everybody to sign for these rules that are not in place yet, that you're trying to just get to the finish line so you can get to July 1, which that's the deadline for. If we don't get there, what happens? Is this essentially like a strike where sports just stop? What happens if you don't get to this?
I think they would just continue under the old rules if the settlement. Once the settlement is approved, it becomes law or whatever, however they're going to phrase it. But there's no real enforcement of that. If your state says that our schools, these are the rules for the schools that are in our state, then those schools are going to follow those rules. And you have, as we've seen with the dumb Ohio State shit, other states are actually putting competitive advantages into their rules, where the idiots in Ohio are putting things like no flag planting and no games at noon. States like Tennessee are creating rules so that Tennessee and Vandy and Memphis, et cetera, can look at the NCAA, give them the double bird, and say, well, our state rules say we don't have to listen to your stupid rules. So we're going to abide by our state rules and we don't have to play your game.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, Ross also goes on to say, such a concept is actually addressed in Tennessee state law. The law prevents an athletic association from adopting and enforcing rules that violate state law and prohibits any association from interfering with a school's membership status, voting rights, and revenue distribution. Essentially saying, if you don't sign this document, there cannot be, because you are under state law, there cannot be repercussions against you for not signing this stupid memo that we're putting out there, which... Jesus.
And here's the thing. If Tennessee's doing it, Florida's going to do it. Alabama's going to do it. These states are going to say, you can't tell us how much we can and can't spend of our revenue on players. You may, that's, the other part of it is as they try to shut down these collectives, because listen, Aaron, this is what they really want, because the collectives are the boosters paying for the players,
putting money in the McDonald's bags, in the duffel bags.
Instead of the schools don't want us. We've seen this. That's why they were kicking and screaming into all the way through the house settlement, because they don't want it coming out of their pockets. So they would rather, especially the big land grant state schools that can just tap into, we've got 3 or 4 billionaire boosters, and them giving us $5-10 million a year doesn't really, they make that off of just their money sitting in the bank, and then they write it off to us or give it to us to pay our players because they like watching our team. They want our team to be good, because nobody wants to see your team suck. So if you got an extra 10 million a year laying around, you can say, how I know my team's not going to suck? Because I'm going to give them $10 million to go get players. The schools would prefer that, but the house settlement says now, we're not going to be able to do that. So they're going to look for ways around it. This thing has always been about, they put rules in place and then people find a way. I mean, that's exactly what the Baylor AD is talking about in the Colorado. Okay, here's the rules. And as soon as the rules are in place, people are looking for loopholes. Well, how can we? And then sometimes, Aaron, they decide, well, there are no loopholes. Screw it. We're going to break the rules because there's no real repercussions for breaking the rules. So we don't care if those rules exist anyway, because they don't apply to us.
Which is why you have the Deloitte system set up to check that. We see in this article, you didn't know this. I
This
didn't
is
know this,
fascinating. This is fascinating.
but the stats that came out, 80% of the NIL deals are for $10,000 or less of all college
that's
sport
not the
NIL
fascinating
deals.
part to me.
99% are, well, I don't even remember the number now without looking it up. 99%
Less than $100,000.
Less than 100,000.
So this is the important part, I think.
Quarterbacks.
Deloitte officials shared notable figures with athletic directors and coaches at the ACC spring meetings last week. 70% of past deals from booster collectives would have been denied. 90% of past deals from public companies would have been approved. And then to go a step farther, 80% of the NIL deals with public companies were less than 10,000. 99% were less than 100,000. So this is a small money game. NIL is going the way that they're writing this or scripting this, Aaron. NIL is going to go from millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars handed out to players to very small sums handed out to players as allowed by Deloitte.
I got that feeling when we on 513 day when we had Eddie and Trevor on with us. I certainly got that feeling. I don't know if you got that feeling, but when he's talking about looking for deals, he's not talking about landing 6-7 figure deals for people.
No, 5,000, 500, 1,000.
He just wants people to get represented by things that they enjoy, things that they like, things that represent who they are, which is what this whole thing was supposed to always have been about anyway.
It was never going to be about that.
No.
Because there was no oversight. So I credit the NCAA for trying to get ahead of this.
Yeah, it was always under the guise of how can we make this look like an actual deal when it's simply just the handshake with the money being exchanged?
Well, no, generally what happened, Aaron, is so the money all goes into the collective, right? And the collective has the money. And then the collective says, if you go read children's books to first graders, we'll give you $50,000 for that. Because the money is there for service performed, right? So you performed a service. You went to the children's, the stuff that was supposed to be like done out of the goodness of your heart. You went to the children's hospital and went and visited sick kids. But you did
stuff that used to be volunteer hours.
Right. But you did that because they were giving you $100,000 to do it. That is what won't be happening anymore.
We'll see.
I don't know, man. Like,
sounds like
on one hand,
Tennessee's still going to be doing it.
On one hand, I do commend the Power 5 folks for saying, some of them, if we want this to work, we have to commit to making it work. We cannot say, okay, we're going to do this, but then in the next breath, turn around and be looking for outs, be looking for ways to circumvent the system, which has always been how the NCAA has worked. But all this is going to lead to, Aaron, is more lawsuits and more.
That's who's winning here. The university's lawyers, who they're the ones winning here. They're just you've got pretty much your, I don't know, next 10, 15 years locked up under contract. Don't have to worry about anything. It's looking pretty good for those folks.
I want to see somebody get kicked out. You're out.
I mean, the three schools mentioned. The three schools mentioned in here are, of course, University of Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Memphis.
Memphis is in trouble. Memphis is in big trouble.
They're always in trouble.
Tennessee, it's not sacrificing Tennessee and Vandy, bro.
I don't know. The SEC might actually offer Vanderbilt up as a sacrificial lamb.
They can't do that. Vandy's like Vandy's the kid on the AAU team. You're like, why is that kid on the team? Because his dad's rich and he pays for the van or the airplane to fly teams to tournaments. That's why that kid's on the team. That's Vandy. They're there to keep the GPA up.
We had one of those kids in our fraternity for sure.
Yeah, everybody's got one. Like, you know what it is. But yeah, that's why Vandy's are. No, Memphis is screwed. The NCAA is going straight for Memphis. They're in the American. They don't matter. Like, we're gonna crush Memphis. Oh. The story continues to develop, and with each passing day, more and more stupidity already is developing down the road.
As the world turns.
As the NCAA crumbles, just piece by piece by piece. That's the nightcap.
All my
brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!